Hi, third graders, and welcome to our Wednesday class. And I am going to start today with our spelling words because we did not get a chance to go over the new ones on Monday. So I'm going to actually have you're going to spell the word. So you might want to pause the video for a second and go get your red composition book that we do our spelling words in and turn to probably the second or third page, because remember we started last week. And so get a clean page and you want to put today's date. So I'm going to give you a second to go get that, or you can pause the video. And I've put the date up on the whiteboard. And so what you want to do is you can put the 23rd so that you know which week those words are from. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say the word and I'm going to use it in a sentence. And then while I'm using it in a sentence, you're actually going to try to spell it. So you're going to put number 1, there's just 5. And so you need to put number 1 and you'll do the first word and I'll say the sentence and then we'll do all of them. Now alongside the spelling word, you want to correct it. So after I read it off to you and you write it down, then I'm going to write it on the board so that you can put the correct spelling right beside it. So I'm going to read a word, say it in a sentence, and then I'll give you the correct spelling. So let's start, and then you will work on these. Hopefully you've already been working on them because I did give them to your mom, but just in case. So our first word is Maryland. So after number 1, you want to write the word Maryland. Sentence, we live in Maryland. So I want you to write that, and I'll give you a couple of seconds. And now that you've had a couple of seconds to write that, we're going to spell it correctly on the board. And I'm actually going to kind of do it big. And so the correct spelling is Maryland. So make sure that you have spelled Maryland correctly. So I'll leave it up there for a minute. I know we still have that nice little shadow coming through. So Maryland. Okay. And these are on your mom's has. So if you don't get them, then make sure you run and go get your mom and ask her to help you get these words done correctly in your notebook. Number 2, Frederick. Frederick. Many of us live in Frederick. So now take a minute to write that one. And while you're writing that one, I'm going to erase Maryland, and then we will spell Frederick correctly. All right. So if you haven't finished with Frederick, you can always hit pause. So remember, if I'm going too fast, hit pause. That's the nice thing about the videos that you can't do in class. So number 2 is Frederick. So check yours and make sure that it is just like mine. Frederick. And our little shadows are coming through on the C and the K over here. So number 2 is Frederick. Make sure you have that in your notebook. Number 3, this one's a little bit easier. So I'm hearing complaints on this one. Army. The army marched to battle. Army. So write that one. And while you are writing that one, I will erase. And number 3, army, is going to be A-R-M-Y. Army. A-R-M-Y. Now, I'm going to guess that you guys have already been looking these over and already know them. So what I'm doing here is probably not even needed. But I did want to do this since we hadn't done it on Monday. Number 4, colony. When America was founded, lots of different areas became a colony. Maryland was a colony as well. Colony. So spell that one under number 4. And we'll spell that one. And there you go. Colony. C-O-L-O-N-Y. Colony. And finally, our last word, Indian. Number 5 is Indian. So spell that one. You want to give this one a capital letter. I, capital I, N-D-I-A-N. So now you have all 5 of your words, and I'm sorry they're a day or 2 late, but hopefully you've already been working on them. Like I said, your mom will always have those. So if you miss class, you're sick, go on vacation, she will always have those on the has. All right. You may close the spelling notebook, and I would like for you to get out your poetry selection, the preamble. Looks like this. I think everybody's got their copy at home, and we're going to say it together. I'm going to start it. We're actually going to say it 3 times. So we're really practicing this today. And I know some of you completely know, but I'm going to actually say it really slowly because that's how I want you to say it when we do it in class together. Okay? So I want everybody to stand up. I want you to have your sheets of paper in front of you. If you don't know it, if you do know it, then don't put it in front of you. And only look at it if you need to. Okay? Here we go. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty, to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, we're going to do it a little differently. I am going to start reading it out loud, but I'm going to leave out words. And you have to shout really loud through the video, okay? So here we go. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect, establish justice, ensure domestic, provide for the common, promote the general, and secure the blessings of, to ourselves and our, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of. Okay, so hopefully you kind of got that when I put my hand up, I want to hear you screaming through the computer. So I'm going to do it one more time to practice, and then we will move on to our grammar. Here we go. We the people, in order to form a more perfect, establish, ensure domestic, provide for the common, promote the general, and secure the blessings of, to ourselves and our, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of. Very good. I think I could actually hear you screaming through the computer. All right. So if you're not practicing those each day, make sure you get them out and you're working on them. Okay, today we're going to do a little bit of our grammar lesson that we actually started the other day. So I want you to get out your grammar workbook page. You can put your preamble away. And we are going to be looking at page 2. Now, the other day, we talked about the subject and the verb. The subject is who is doing the action, and the verb is the action. And a lot of you already knew that, so I was actually quite impressed. But today, we are going to add a few words. And then, let me see what you're doing for homework. So there was a worksheet I was supposed to hand you out in class, and I didn't. So we're going to do it on Monday. And so you won't have that piece to do, but tomorrow you will be looking at page 3. So not the page that we're getting ready to do, but page 3. And you are actually going to do sentences 1 to 3. So exercise 1 to 3. And this is going to be your first real test. Not really a test, but your first time of really having to learn how to do this. All right. Now we looked at some of those top sentences on page 2, but today we're going to look at, we're going to do 5, then you're going to do 6 by yourself, and then I'll give you the answers. Then we're going to do 7, and you're going to do 8 by yourselves. And we probably will finish those others in class next week. So I'm going to write number 5 on the board. The small kittens, I think, played happily. All right. So our small kittens are playing happily. Now, yesterday, I asked you some questions. And one of the questions that I asked was, who was playing? And you answered kittens. And so if kittens is who is playing, we are going to put subject noun. So I want you to have your workbook open, and this is number 5 on page 2. And you should put SN above kittens. It's a subject noun. Kittens is a noun. And I just ask you who was playing, and you should tell me the kittens. Now, my next question is, what are the kittens doing? What are they doing? And you should answer played. So that means this is the verb. And you guys all knew that yesterday. You knew what verbs were. Now, I'm going to tell you a new rule. If you see this word, or this word, and you should know these, the, a, and an. If you see one of those are called article adjectives. They're always adjectives, and they're always article adjectives. So we're going to put a big old A up there for article adjectives. Now I want you to remember that. Remember it for Monday. When we come in, you're going to put an A if you have any of these. Article adjective. Now I want to talk about 2 more things that we can see in our sentences. Nouns are very lonely people. or very lonely parts of sentences. And they like friends, just like you guys have your friends in your class. Some of you like to sit next to certain people and you've made new friends. And so nouns like to have friends too. And their favorite friends are adjectives. Adjectives and nouns like to hang out together. Adjectives actually tell us about the noun. It's like they introduce the noun to us and tell us all about it. And so things like the furry kitten, the brown kitten, the ugly kitten, the nice kitten, all of those are words that are called adjectives. They tell us about the noun. And so in this sentence, up here there is something that tells us about the kittens. And I'm going to tell you the question for that. What kind of kittens were they? And you should be screaming through the computer, small kittens. There's our word that is going to be friends with the kittens. He's an adjective. And that adjective and that subject noun are friends. Adjectives and nouns are friends. Now, verbs don't want to be left out. They like friends too. Except they can't hang out with the same friends that the nouns have. So they have their own friends. And what do you think they might be? Well, they're adverbs, because they kind of got the same title. Verbs, adverbs, verbs, adverbs. They hang out together. So when we have a verb, there's also a question we can ask. The question is, how did the kittens play? How did they play? And you would tell me happily. And that means I have adverb there. Okay? Now, I'm not going to write the next sentence on the board. Instead, you're going to look at it, and I want you to ask, I'm going to ask the questions, and you're going to fill in the choices. Now here, I'm going to keep the article adjectives up there so you can look at them. Here are your choices. SN, verb, A for article adjective, ADJ for adjective, and ADV for adverb. These are your 5 choices. And I will tell you that they're all in there. Okay? So here we go. The sentence, let's read it together. The frightened girl ran away. And I'm going to start with the different order this time, and I'm going to say who ran away. I don't know if maybe that wasn't the different order. I'm losing my mind. Who ran away, though? And you would have to tell me who that is. Now, I'm not going to tell you the answers yet. So you have to choose one of these and put it over who ran away. Okay, so you do that on number 6. Now, let me just tell you, if you see any of these 3 words, you want to put this above it. So you can go ahead and do that. Now, my next question for you is, what did the girl do? And you should be able to tell me what she was doing. That's the action. And now you have to choose one of these to put above what she's doing. So go ahead and do that. Now, my next question is, what kind of girl, or what more information do we find out about the girl? But the best question is, what kind of girl is running away? And if you can answer that question, then either this one or this one is going to go above it. So you have to figure that out. So go ahead and choose this one or this one to put above it. And then finally, the last question is, there's a couple of questions that you can answer about the verb. And in this one, I'm going to say, where did she run? And you're going to answer away, right? And so now you have one of these that you have to put up there. Okay, so if I can answer where or how or when, I'll give you a little clue. It's this one. Okay, all right, so let's check our sentence. Again, the frightened girl ran away. Who ran away? That was the girl. So we're going to put subject noun, SN, over top of girl. What did the girl do? She ran. So now we're going to put V above ran. Then we notice that we have the word the in there, and we know that the is an article adjective, so we put A above it. That's always, you always do that. You can always get that one right. Then I want to know what kind of girl she is, and you should have said frightened, and that would be our adjective because it's hanging out with the noun. And finally, I said, where did the girl run? And you should have told me away, and that's adverb because away and running are kind of friends. Okay, good job. Now I'm going to do one more on the board. Whoops, I didn't want to erase that yet. So next we're going to do the two firemen worked yesterday. All right. We read it together. The two firemen worked yesterday. So now I'm going to ask you the question, who worked yesterday? And you should all be screaming through the computer, firemen. So we have subject, noun. Then I would say, what did the firemen do yesterday? And you would tell me really loud, worked. And that's the verb. I happen to glance up and notice I've got one of these. So I'm going to put my article adjective there. And then I'm going to ask you, tell me more about the firemen. How many were there? Any other descriptive things? I think there's just the one, just how many? That's hanging out, it's telling me about firemen, so that's going to be my adjective. Those are the ones that hang out with the nouns. And then I'm going to say, when did the firemen work? And you're going to tell me yesterday. And that is an adverb question. When, how, where, that hangs out with the verb. Okay, so this isn't so bad. Now what I want you to do right now, using all those same 5 choices, you're going to do a little boy ran away. Now I'm going to put the choices back on the board. And then I'll give you the answers at the end, but I want you to try to do it by yourself. So you have subject, noun, verb, A, adjective, and adverb. Now, if these are things that help you to have those choices in front of you, then maybe make an index card and keep them in your school area. Your school area. So hit the pause button or just take a second and fill them in, and then I'll give you the answers in just a second. And I'll move out of the way so you can actually see those. All right, so either hit pause if you're not done, but I'm going to fill in the answers for you. So, number 1, or excuse me, we read it out aloud. A little boy ran away. And the first thing we want to say is who ran away, and you would tell me boy. We put subject to noun above that. Ran is our verb, and that is going to have the V above it. Then I'm going to ask you what kind of boy, and you're going to tell me little. So that gets the ADJ. The word A gets an A above it. And finally, I'm going to ask you, where did the boy run? And you're going to tell me away, and that's the adverb. Okay, we're going to stop there, and I want to take a minute to do our keyword outline. I don't want to keep you much longer. But I do want to do your keyword outline so you can do an oral retell for Mom before we come back to school on Monday. So the other day we read about the Baltimore Oriole. Today we're reading about the Delmarva squirrel, and these are all animals that are common to Maryland. So I want you to hit pause, go get a pencil or a highlighter because as I read, you're going to highlight some things. All right. So I assume if you've unhit the pause or hit the pause again, whatever, we're ready to go. So as I read, I want you to highlight what you think is important. Then we're going to do a quick keyword outline, and you're going to do the oral retell tomorrow, or we'll do it together on Thursday. We can do some then. All right, here we go. The Delmarva fox squirrel has physical similarities to the common gray squirrel. It has a silver gray coat, short rounded ears, and whitish feet. It can grow up to 30 inches long, weigh up to 3 pounds, and its bushy tail can reach 15 inches in length. The Delmarva fox squirrel spends a considerable amount of time on the ground rather than in trees. Delmarva fox squirrels live in mature forest stands along streams and bays, and in small woodlots next to agricultural fields. The typical diet of Delmarva fox squirrels includes nuts, seeds, and acorns from oak, pine, maple, and hickory trees. They also eat fruit, fungi, insects, and immature green pine cones. Okay. So we're going to work on our keyword outline. And remember, we're going sentence by sentence here. So in the first sentence, the Delmarva fox squirrel has physical similarities to the common gray squirrel. So I might pick Delmarva similar gray, because I know I'm doing squirrel. So I might put here Delmarva similar and gray. And like I said, I know I'm doing squirrels, so I know I don't have to put squirrel in there 2 times. Okay. It has a silver gray coat, short rounded ears, and whitish feet. So I would probably put silver gray. Now, when you hyphenate a word, that only counts as 1. So we only lost 1 word there. Now, short rounded ears, I'm going to draw those. So instead of doing like big pointy ears like that, I'm going to do a face with short ears. See? And I'm going to circle those ears just to remember what I want to do there. You could write ears alongside there since we do have the extra word. And whitish feet. So I'm going to put here white. And then, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can draw a foot or not. Yeah, I guess that kind of looks like a foot, and you better hadn't be laughing at my foot across the screen. All right, sentence number 3. It can grow up to 30 inches long, weigh up to 3 pounds, and its bushy tail can reach 15 inches. So I might do something like this. 30 inches. And that would mean, and since that's a symbol in numbers, I haven't used any. So 30 inches long. 3 pounds. That's a symbol. That's a number. Still haven't used anything. Now I can do bushy tail 15 inches. I really, in this whole thing, only used 2 words because everything else was numbers or symbols, which we know are allowed. Now, sentence number 4. The Delmarva fox squirrel spends a considerable amount of time on the ground rather than in trees. I'm going to put here time on ground. Very simple. He doesn't like to be in the trees. He spends his time on the ground. Delmarva fox squirrels live in mature forest stands along streams and bays and in woodlots next to agricultural fields. Now that's a big, long sentence. So we've got to cut that down. So we're going to put mature trees. That's just another word for stands. And maybe along streams. We've got to choose what we think are the best words. So we have to leave some of those out. Now you could choose other ones if you want. The typical diet of the Delmarva is nuts. Let me see here. Nuts, seeds, and acorns. And it tells us the kinds of trees they come from, but I think this is probably good enough for us to have in there. And finally, in our last one, I hope you can still see this. You just have to squint a little bit. They also eat fruit. They eat fungi and insects. All right. I think you can probably see that. So you could actually hit pause and then get this copied down. So let me tell you really quickly what I want you to do, and then I will move out of the way again. You can hit pause and you can copy anything down you didn't already finish. So let me just tell you, if you didn't like the words I chose, you can choose your own. You just have to have 3. If you use symbols and numbers, remember, that gives you extra words. Now, what I want you to do, and I believe I have this on your HAS, is that you tomorrow, let me find the writing, you're going to do the oral retell. And so you're going to take, remember how you do it, you're going to hold it in front of you, and you're going to think about your sentence. So like the first sentence, I have Delmarva similar to gray squirrel. So I'm going to look at the words I wrote, and I'd probably say something like, the Delmarva squirrel is similar to the gray squirrel. I'm going to look up and look straight at my mom. Then I'm going to look at the second one. I'm going to put my words together and then say it to my mom. So you're going to practice it, but on Thursday, when we have our little meetup, if you want to practice those together, the more practice, the better, okay? So the other thing that we did not do in class was to practice the next letter in our handwriting. So make sure you go over that with your mom and that you practice. And I think it was another vowel. And so I want you to practice that, and then we will review next week. So that is all I have for you. I'm going to move out of the way so that this is the last thing you see. And as soon as I'm done talking, I want you to hit pause and then copy down anything that you had not already copied down. And I will see you on Thursday at our meetup.